Okay, hey, so we're gonna do a tutorial here just in regards to masking and just general Photoshop stuff. I'm recording this over a video I took that the recording got lost, so if there's some delay in here, sorry about that. But pretty much I want to show you how to mask and how to fill in objects kind of in isometric and also just in general within the drawing space here. So I had a few patterns lined up. So there's one that's like concrete and one that's wood. So we're gonna grab the concrete and we're gonna try to put it on the wall that's kind of over on this side here. We're gonna size it down and we're gonna make it a little bit lighter because it is pretty dark and you can't see the patterning and wall below it. So we're gonna make it lighter so that we can see that when we select it. So I'm just changing the opacity here, and we're going to move it kind of into place and get a little closer to our area. We're going to go over to here, which is the polygon line lasso tool. The polygon lasso tool might not come up automatically. It is the L keystroke if you want to go faster. You are going to select kind of the object. I'm snapping here with shift and then I'm double clicking to actually complete the selection. So again, I'm going to hit select as I'm going down to make it orthographic, then come up here and then double click to actually finish the curve. And then you see the little running ants around it that you know that it's been selected. Then I'm going to go over here to this button here, which is the mask tool. It's layer mask. As you can see, it looks kind of like a Japanese flag. We're just going to select it and then it's now put into that object. So as you can see here, I brought up the opacity so you can see it a little bit better, but the actual object itself is now sitting within there, and you can see that it is by where the like black field is like masking all the rest of the stuff. And let's say I want to make I forgot that I actually need to fill that little piece in too. We're going to be able to fill that in. Again, do L for lasso, polygon lasso tool, which is right over here. You're going to do selecting it all, again, shifting, holding, and double clicking to be able to get up there, or you can just finish the box. And then we're going to want to mask in this after the fact. So again, all of that's black. So we know that if it's black, the black is masking, it's a covering, whereas the white is showing. This sometimes happens in reverse in certain situations, which I'll show later, but in this situation, it is showing white. So we know that we need to hit the white when we fill this area so that we can actually see the pattern come through. If you don't do that, then you're not going to be able to see it come through. So make sure that your selection is on the actual mask itself when you want to bring in the new mask. Otherwise, you're just going to be coloring over with a fill over the actual image. You want to make sure that you're hitting the mask. I am trying to show you where the other fill is located. I didn't know where it was. I don't know where it is still. Typically you could do Shift F5 in the past. That is also the hot stroke for fill, but you can go down to this bar, go into the little paint bucket thing, and then we're going to do fill color. This fill color, we're just going to fill it with the white color. You can also hit white if you want, but sometimes that just doesn't work. White or black, that will be the fastest though. So in this situation, we're wanting to hit white because that's the thing that we're wanting to show up because the black is masking it. That little key bar, I think, is called the contextual taskbar if you don't have it up. If you can go into window and find it if you don't have it up for some reason. And just so you know, I'm on Essentials default workspace always. That's how I have all of the tabs where I need them to be. So this is obviously straight up and down. Let's see if we want to like distort the image. So if I want to actually follow and make the image follow where I'm like where the lines and perspective of the ISO are coming from, we're going to do this. Just so you know, I also never have auto select on. Auto select will literally do what it says. It auto selects what you want, and you can move pretty quickly, but sometimes if you have a lot of layers, it works well here because you only have 2 layers. If you have a lot of layers, it's just really difficult because you might accidentally select something when you're trying to select something else. So just easier to go back, select the thing on the layer map. That's just the easier way. So we're going to pull over the texture here and kind of bring it close to where we're wanting. We're going to put on that wall there. We're going to get it a little close. Some people like to alter it a little bit, so get it kind of closer to what they're wanting generally. So in this situation, since it's angled, we're probably just going to rotate a little bit. I did Control T to bring up the transform controls. There is a button there at the top, as you can see, that says Show Transform Controls. You can have that on always, and it'll always have the transform controls on, but I don't like to have that because it's gets kind of muddy sometimes, and it just, when I'm going fast, like sometimes it'll pull and transform things that I don't actually want to transform. So it's just easier for me to do Control Transform, as you can see here. And now we're going to pull it kind of into the general area in which we're wanting to distort it into. So our next keystroke is going to be distort. So I'm rotating it. So I'm getting it closer to the angle in which you're wanting to have the piece be kind of lined up in. And then we're going to make it a little bit shorter because I want it to have a little bit more like height difference than what it was. It was very wide. And now we're bringing it a little bit more opaque because I can't see anything. And then we're going to do right click distort. I don't know why it didn't show up, but it should have showed up. It should be right click distort. And you can be able to move each piece individually. So as you can see there, each little leg I moved individually, and now it's in that area. So now we're going to click enter, and then let's say we don't want that window in there. The window is not wood. So we're going to select the area just like we've done with all the other stuff. We're going to do L, or you can go over to the left there to the polygon lasso tool. And we're going to select the area that we want to take out. So in this situation, when you mask, typically you select the thing that you want to keep in. But in this case, you don't want to do that. So if you hit the mask, it's going to just select the thing that is what you don't want. So what you're going to do in this situation is actually hit, you can right click and do select inverse, or, which I just did, or you can do Alt, you hit Alt, and then you select it. Just left click that mask thing. So that's Alt, and then you select the mask because it's going to do the inverse of it. And as you can see on the actual mask there on the right, most of the field is now white. So the white is indicating that the white is actually masking. So just like how in the opposite of the black is masking, the white is masking. So now you know that if you ever want to show more of this image, you hit black. So in this situation, see, look, I'm going to hit the fill color of white. So I'm going to fill this box that I just made, this random box made out of the marquee tool, with white to show you that it just takes it away. And so instead of adding it, it's taking it away, just like that. So we're going to deselect it, and then we're going to undo that because we obviously want to keep that. But okay, so now we're bringing the opacity back up to 100, and now that's kind of how it looks. I'm going to show you a little bit of shading, and then I think it's called masking over the top. Pretty much we're just going to want to, if you want to affect an area without affecting all the other areas around it, that is what I'm about to show you. So instead of going through and like having to like carefully select everything that you're wanting to select, right now I'm actually showing the difference between opacity and fill. Opacity is more like a white sheet that goes over the top of an image, so it makes it more white, whereas like fill actually takes out the like body of the picture, so it makes it physically just lighter. Okay, so now I'm going on to the masking 2.0 kind of, where again, we don't necessarily want to have to select this object all over again. We just kind of want to use the object that we have and draw over it. So I'm going to make a new layer, as you can see, layer 5. And also I'm telling you to make your layer names better because layer 5 is not a good name. So I'm going to make I did B for brush, and I'm just brushing on some shadows, and I'm showing you that obviously if you select it, like that'll come up on it, but that takes too much time. So we're going to actually click Alt and hover between the two spaces there, and that makes it hook to just the thing that is below it. So in this situation, it's just the wood. So again, Alt, and then you hover in that middle space between the two layers. And that means that layer 5 will always forever be connected to layer 4. And anything that you draw on there will only show up on layer 4, nowhere else. So that is what I'm showing you here. And then we're going to do B for brush. And we're brushing on a couple shadows. So that's the black that's like being brushed on right now. And then I'm going to probably make another layer. Oh, I'm showing that if you make a bunch of layers under that layer, it'll all generally hook. But if you want them to take it off, you can just hit Alt again, and it'll take off the, it's called like being a servant. I didn't want to use that terminology, but that's what it is. It's like that's the servant layer to the main layer. So making another layer, and I'm just hitting X. So see, hear that like little computer sound? The X changes the foreground and background. So as you can see up there, you can change the foreground and background to white or black. Right now I have it as green for some reason, but now I'm making it white. And you can either go to that far left side or the top right side. And then I made it into white so we could do a highlight. And so we're doing like white on that area. And so now you have a darker side on one side and a lighter side on the other. Again, that X button changes between your foreground and background colors. So when you're in the brush tool, it'll change between those. And when you're in any tool, actually. I think I'm going to do, so in this situation, I'm showing that even if you make a color somewhere else, if it's not on the actual image that it's subservient to, it won't show up. Like you can see it there in the mask, but nothing will show up because it's not actually there. And there's nothing for it to color on. We're making a new layer. And we're also going to do kind of the same process. So you're hooking it you're making it servant to that main layer. Again, you're going over to brush, B for brush, or you can go to the left side. And then you can, again, dab in that shadow, dab in that highlight, just like before. So making a new layer, clicking Alt between the two layers, and then making them subservient to each other. So now they're all of those 7 and 8 layers are subservient to layer 2. I'm about to show just basically how to just do a general fill. If you're wanting to do just a general fill, so you're making a new layer, and then again going up to that L lasso polygon tool, which I use very religiously, as you've noticed. And just kind of going in and making a new thing. I'm showing the marquee tool here, just showing that like you can quickly select things with the marquee tool, but it will be just rectilinear. So in this situation, again, I'm making the polygon, using the polygon tool to just make a surface, doing the fill, and then filling that with whatever color. So in this case, it's a kind of an orangish. Yep, opacity is 100, that's okay. And then it's, just gonna sit down there as a separate fill. Okay, I think the last thing I'm showing you guys is the patch tool. So I'm making a copy of this, so I'm hitting Alt and I'm dragging this up. If I want to get rid of that masking layer, all I'm going to do is right click and then delete it or disable it. So you can see there's two, disable and then delete. I'm just going to delete it because I don't need it for anything anymore. Because it's a copy, because again, I Alt clicked and dragged it. And so now there's this like boards, and I want to maybe make more boards just longer, and I don't want to actually stretch the image. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to use the marquee tool just because it's fast and quick. I'm just going to select just a small area of it. I'm going to click V to get back onto the move tool. And I'm going to click Alt and drag. Alt and drag. So hitting Alt and dragging at the same time, you can see the little mouse pointer becomes two little mice. And I'm just going to drag it up pretty close to this area. As you can see here, it's pretty close. You can stamp it, clone stamp it. Sorry, I have grass on as my brush right now, but you can clone stamp it just like you've probably been taught before, where you hit the S for stamp, clone stamp. You hit the Alt to find the part that you want to stamp, and then you can like stamp on. That's fine. That just takes a long time. So what I do is J. If you hit J, it might come up with the spot healing brush, so you're going to have to click and hold to get to J, the patch tool. The patch tool pretty much patches whatever you want onto the area that you had. So you're going to select the area in which you're wanting to change, because that's obviously a really harsh line. We're going to drag it so it clones it over to an area that is cleaner and more open. So it's kind of melted together. I did okay. It's obviously a little off because like lines are tricky, and so maybe you need to be more conscientious, but that's not bad looking. You can see here, you're just kind of cleaning it up, just kind of lining these things up. Again, from afar, it doesn't look too bad. Again, yeah, pretty much you're wanting to make sure that you're conscientious where you're like dragging it, because sometimes if you drag it off, it's going to make it look like really weird. See where it like just like totally takes out any of the things. So you're going to want to, if you're on an edge, maybe you're going to another edge. So you're duplicating that. But see, it's doing pretty good here. It looks pretty close in terms of like how it's lining up. But again, pretty much it just shows like how you're taking from one object and duplicating onto another. So I'm going to show you on the concrete because it's going to be a little easier since it's so much bigger. So again, you're going to hit marquee tool, which is M. You're going to click and hit Alt at the same time and drag once you're in the V option. So you're just creating a copy just on the same layer. I do this because I don't want to have a billion layers. Then we're going to again go over there to the J tool, which is patch, and we're going to just select the area in which we want to kind of seam together, drag it to a clean area, and there it goes. So let's say I don't want that big discoloration. You can just drag it over and it can clean it up. Maybe you don't want those two little dots. You can drag it and clean it up. Pretty much, again, it clones whatever you're going to. So let's say I want that circle over here. So I'm going to actually do the circle here and then drag it to that little imperfection, and it'll duplicate it. So it's pretty much cloning it just on the area that you're wanting. Or the inverse, maybe I don't want that little imperfection and I just drag it and it clears it up. So I think that that's pretty much it. Again, there will be some more videos probably coming out, but I hope this helps.